Welcome to SVG-TV News for January 24th, 2019. I'm Yvette Bowens with the details. St. Vincent and the Grenadines stands in solidarity with Venezuela and its people and denounces international interference in the country's internal affairs. This was stated by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves at a ceremony held at the Venezuelan embassy last evening in observance of Venezuela's end of dictatorship. Prime Minister Gonsalves' statement comes in the wake of several countries, including the United States, recognizing Venezuela's opposition leader as the interim president.
There is no basis absolutely in international law for any intervention or any interference in the internal affairs of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Absolutely none. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, over the last several years, has stood on the side of international law and has stood accordingly with the government and people of Venezuela.
PM Gonsalves said the good relations SVG has with the United States of America will remain that way, but they will not stand idly and support a wrong.
States of America and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are good friends. We in this country have a lot of people going to the United States, make a good living, they study. We have a lot of tourists who come. I have absolutely no interest in having any quarrel with the United States of America. We have a respectful difference on dealing with this matter with Venezuela. And we continue to cooperate with one another, with the United States of America, on a wide range of matters, of mutual interest, of hemispheric interest, and an international concern. And we will continue to do so. But friends, from time to time, will differ.
The Prime Minister said he is aware of the sanctions placed on Venezuela, which SVG has also felt due to its support for the Spanish-speaking country, and assured Venezuela that it need not worry about SVG's position.
Venezuela doesn't have to worry about St. Vincent and the Grenadines, this government. I am satisfied that the people of this country, by a significant, if not an overwhelming majority, support our position of dignity and high principle. It is our duty at the same time to see if we can have peace in Venezuela and to have a receding of some of the material challenges. Venezuela, there's a set of sanctions against Venezuela, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines suffers from those sanctions.
Meanwhile, Venezuela's ambassador to SVG, Francisco Perez, explained to the gathering at the embassy more about the situation in his homeland and said it is a sad state of affairs.
11 countries. The 11 countries from the Latin America recognize Juan Guaidó as a president of Venezuela. We denounce this. We give the denounce, and as a COP that internationally want United States and the Lima Group do against our constitutional president of Venezuela. This is the very first time that happened in the international law and the international war and the diplomacy. It's the very first time that a group of countries name a president of one country, and not the people that live in the country, that elect the country, and are against the election of our president, Nicolás.
Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday said he and his party stand in support with the people of Venezuela and calls for a peaceful resolution to the challenges and problems in the country.
We stand in solidarity with the people of Venezuela for the democratic process in Venezuela, and we want to ensure that that is restored for the people of Venezuela. We think that the people of Venezuela, should be encouraged to solve their problems for themselves. We are against intervention, but to avoid that, we urge that all friends of Venezuela to urge for a peaceful resolution towards the restoration of democracy in the country, which doesn't exist now.
Doesn't exist. Okay, so what I was trying to get is that you as the leader, would you recognize Maduro still as...
Well, we don't have state-to-state relations. So at this point in time, we'll have to observe what is happening. The government has stated what the position of St. Vincent is. As the opposition party, we say that what needs to happen in Venezuela is for there to be a resolution to the political crisis that is there, so that the economic crisis and the humanitarian crisis can be dealt with effectively for the people, and that would require that you have a democratic process restored and fresh elections.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said Coast Guard officers must be more mindful of crimes against local fisherfolk and help them secure their catch. Addressing the gathering at the commissioning ceremony for the new Coast Guard vessel at the cruise ship terminal earlier this week, PM Gonsalves said fisherfolk are constantly facing the problem where thieves are taking their catch, including lobsters. The Prime Minister said this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed.
So the lobsters, when they are caught in the sea, in the lobster pods, these pots which they put down, as soon as you put them down, a fisherman, thief man come in to thief lobster. This is a new form of theft, and the Coast Guard and the police have to be mindful that in addition to predial larceny, thieving of crops and animals on land, the thief man them now thieving lobster in the sea.
PM Gonsalves said there has been a rise in lobster price since the commencement of operations at the Argyle International Airport, which the thieves have been taking advantage of.
Airport itself at Argyle, that airport itself has caused the increase in the price of lobster. About 2 years ago, more than a year and a half ago, you coming out Caliqua at 5 o'clock in the evening, you see a fisherman with 3 lobsters, 4 lobsters in their hand, begging you to take 4 of them for $10, $12, $15. As we say in Vincentian folk language, lobster knocking dog. Today, the price of a pound of lobster is $15 EC.
The Prime Minister said the Coast Guard officers, along with the police, must put measures in place to better protect fisherfolk catch.
So I don't want to hear when the complaints are made to the Coast Guard that is not your business. That is very much part of your business to protect people's property. Right. And you have to have arrangements in place protect the hard-working fisher folk who lay in their lobster pot, and you have some teeth man just waiting to reap.
The World Pediatric Project this week hosted its second mission for the year to SVG. Over the last 4 days, the second batch of doctors carried out craniofacial surgeries on a number of children at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Craniofacial surgery is a surgical subspecialty that deals with congenital and acquired deformities of the head, skull, face, neck, jaws, and associated structures. Lead surgeon Dr. Jennifer Rhodes said that just over 20 children were screened at a clinic held last Sunday, and 7 were chosen to do surgeries.
We did 4 children with bilateral cleft palates. We did 2 children with cleft lip who were very young and very small. And we took care of a child with Apert syndrome, which is a complex craniofacial genetic condition where all of the fingers and toes are fused together. We were able to separate the fingers of the little baby just this morning so that she now has 5 fingers on each hand. So that's pretty exciting to be able to offer that here. I think she's probably the first child with Apert who was able to be cared for here at Milton Cato.
Dr. Rhodes, who is from Richmond Hospital in the United States, brought with her a specialized anesthesiologist as the surgeries done was said to be complicated.
Difficult cases from the anesthesia perspective. For example, we took care of a little girl who was born with what's called Pierre-Robin sequence, which is where children have very, very small jaws, and that can affect their breathing and their swallowing. These are some of the hardest children to safely take care of from an anesthetic perspective. Although they have cleft palates and they need cleft palate surgery, doing the surgery can have an effect on their airway. So both as far as planning and performing the anesthesia and planning and performing the surgery, there's a lot of complex decision making, and it's something we were able to do safely here. The baby was getting discharged from the hospital today.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said work is underway to bring a greater level of professionalism to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. PM Gonsalves, who was speaking in an interview on Boom FM today, said the services provided at the hospital continue to evolve and expand, but the management system needs to be revamped. The Prime Minister said a hospital chief executive officer will assist with the management of the hospital and address some of the issues the public complain about.
The chief nursing officer is the one who deals with the nurses. The medical officer, the medical director deals with the doctors. The chief technologist deals with the lab and those services. The chief pharmacist deals with the pharmaceuticals. And everybody is a boss in his or her own area. And the permanent secretary, who is already overloaded, has to get involved to do a number of things and to do coordination and to help. Clearly, what you need is a chief executive officer of what is an industry. The Milton Cato Memorial Hospital is an industry. They have over 600 employees.
Responding to a question relating to the vets at the facility, the Prime Minister said some of these could be attributed to medical complications and that the introduction of a CEO would also assist in clearing up some of these misconceptions.
You have somebody who is paid in the Ministry of Health to do the public relations. No, because you don't have a chief executive officer, the medical director of health, medical director of the hospital, he's concerned in making sure that there are people who are going to do the surgery and so on. He knows the answer to what happened. But they're not so concerned about explaining to me and you. Because some people may find it very strange, for instance, that you go in with a break foot and you die. Well, that happens all over the world because the real problem with the breakfoot is not so much the breakfoot, but a blood clot which...
But say something.
The blood clot which may occur as a consequence. And I know that there are persons from this country who have died from blood clot elsewhere, who have gone in with an orthopedic problem.
The Prime Minister praised the work being done at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital through the World Pediatric Project. He said many of the life operations conducted by the WPP here for free are quite costly in modern countries.
At the start of the year, well, you have the surgical team came and they saw 40-something, 50 patients from different places in the Caribbean. They did 15 or 19 surgical procedures. And one of them was an Vincent child who was not born with an outlet. So they had to reconstruct the colon and the anus. Took 7 hours.
And that was done?
That was done here. You don't know about
the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital.
You don't know about that. That child got first world treatment in St. Vincent for $0.
Didn't have to pay a cent?
Not a cent. A child like that in New York wouldn't get that treatment, the child will die. God, you need to have real money to pay for that operation.
Persons who enjoy the literary work of author Shefflon Ballantyne can look forward to more of his books in the future. Ballantyne's latest publication, No Dress for Timmy, was recently returned for sale on the popular online store Amazon after it was taken down due to lobbying from the LGBT community. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Ballantyne said he has no fear in speaking his truth and that there are other ideas he is exploring to write about.
Well, there are a few. They are lodged in my head and you know, they will be revealed in time, but they all get towards the presentation of truth to help people understand, look, this is the world in which we are living. We are living in the end. It's a case where we need security, and security is only found in Christ. We need to make sure that we are on the right side. We cannot be on the wrong side of this great controversy and expect to be saved. So, you know, the projects that I have in mind, they are all geared towards sensitizing people as to what the issues are. I have theological ideas as well that I like to put in print, but all these things will be revealed as time goes on.
The young author said the inspiration for his work comes from a desire to protect children and the family structure created by God.
Each of us have a role to play. We know some child somewhere. It may be our own, it may be our niece or nephew. All of them need this kind of education and this kind of help. They watch television and they see how the role of the father is being destroyed. The father is always portrayed to be the one who is the fool, and the mother with some level of wisdom, and the child is always portrayed to be right. And that is all part of the plot to destroy the family structure that God has instituted. So we have to actively, not passively, but actively take part in this fight against cultural Marxism, which seeks to destroy or remove Christ from society.